radio address by U.S. Attorney General Homer S. Cummings on the recurring problem of crime, October 12, 1933. For some time I have desired to obtain a place of confinement to which could be sent our more dangerous and tractable criminals. You can appreciate, therefore, with what pleasure I make public the fact that such a place has been found. By negotiation with the War Department, we have obtained the use of Alcatraz Prison, located on a precipitous island in San Francisco Bay, more than a mile from shore. The current is swift and escapes are practically impossible. It has secure cells for 600 persons. It is in excellent condition and admirably fitted for the purpose I had in mind. Here may be isolated the criminals of the vicious and irredeemable type so that their evil influence may not be extended to other prisoners who are disposed to rehabilitate themselves. The Attorney General, accompanied by Mrs. Cummings, spent August 18th inspecting former Army disciplinary barracks. The Army had left behind 30 short-term military prisoners, and the Bureau of Prisons had transferred the first batch of civilians from McNeil Island. The Cummings guide was Warden James A. Johnston, a former banker, whose mild, avuncular manner concealed a talent for devising ways to break the toughest convict's spirit. Since January, when he took office, he had been transforming Alcatraz into the world's most redoubtable Bastille. Originally named by the 18th century Spanish explorers Isla de los Alcatraces, Island of Pelicans, after the birds that then roosted there, Alcatraz has an area of 12 acres and rises steeply to 136 feet above the bay. At 6 points commanding between them a view of every foot of the island, Johnston erected a guard tower equipped with a .30 caliber carbine and a high-powered rifle. A 12-foot high cyclone fence, topped by barbed wire, enclosed the work sections. Barbed wire barriers dotted the shoreline. All old sewer outlets and utility tunnels opening on the water were blocked. Not that any escapee, even if he could crawl through them, was likely to reach the mainland 1.5 miles away, swimming in cold water against currents that often reached a velocity of almost 4 knots. With special pride, Johnston explained to Mr. and Mrs. Cummings the 3-door security system he had designed for the main entrance to the cell house on the crest of the island. It required 2 guards to operate. Before anybody could pass the first door, one of the guards, observing them through a glass panel, had to identify him. If satisfied, he would throw a switch, sliding back a steel plate that covered the lock. Only the second guard had a key. As soon as this guard had admitted the visitor, guard number 1 would send the steel plate gliding again over the lock. A few paces farther, on the first of 2 inner doors with a vision panel barred the way. The guard number 2 would scan the corridors beyond and, if clear, unlock it, let the visitor through, lock it behind them, and advance to the 3rd and last door. When the visitor left, the entire process would be repeated in reverse. To overpower the guard with the key, Johnston pointed out, would not help an escapee because the first guard operated the outer door from an impregnable sentry box of steel and bulletproof glass. At 4 gates between the landing dock and the cell house, used by either prisoners or visitors, Johnston had installed snitch boxes, oscillatory circuits, tuned to a certain electrostatic capacity which the presence of metal would disturb, activating a warning buzzer. To search the cells for hidden metal objects, there were portable electronic detectors. In the 3-tiered cell blocks, painted pink and red, Johnston's prescription for imparting a note of cheer. He had replaced the soft steel bars with tool-proof steel. All the cells were one-man cells. Measuring 8 by 4 feet, they contain a fold-up bunk hooked to the wall, fold-up table and chair, shelf, wash basin, toilet, and a shaded ceiling light. The warden had designated cell block D as a disciplinary unit. Here were light holes, ordinary cells, but set apart for solitary confinement. And the hole, smaller cells with solid steel doors behind which the worst offenders were kept in total darkness. They had no furnishings other than a mattress, which a guard removed every morning. There was a so-called oriental toilet, an opening in the floor which could be flushed only from the outside of the cell. "This prison is our pet project," said the Attorney General, "and I'm proud of the work you have done on it." In the mess hall, with its ceiling rack of tear gas cylinders that could be opened at the touch of a wall button, Johnston showed Mrs. Cummings a sample menu. She burbled. "Why, we don't eat that much at home." A month earlier, Cummings and J. Edgar Hoover visited the Atlanta Penitentiary, ostensibly on a general inspection tour of all federal correctional establishments. But the explanation given convinced few inmates. They had heard and read too much about Alcatraz. They assumed the visitors were acting as talent scouts for the first train loads to the island. Capone, however, appeared unconcerned. "I've got things squared, Rusty," he assured his cellmate. Rudensky was skeptical. "They'll never open that show without a named star." "The fix is in," Capone insisted. "It costs plenty. I tell you, I ain't going."